Hi, I'm Bridget Helms, Executive Director at Miller Center for Social Entrepreneurship. And I'm here with Louis Jordan, who is an Executive Committee member of Miller Center, an Advisory Board member of Miller Center, and a longtime mentor also at Miller Center. So very much engaged. I'm speaking to Louis as part of a series of interviews that I'm conducting with impact pioneers in celebration of Miller Center's 25th anniversary. So thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Perfect. So my first question for you is, what was Miller Center like when you first encountered it?
Well, it was a really energizing environment, at least for me. I came to Miller Center in 2017. Was my first mentor experience, and I was totally new to the Miller Center and to social entrepreneurship, actually, having been in corporate America and in that world for almost 30 years at that point. Here I was meeting some very young people who were doing some rather extraordinary things in terms of trying to create businesses and trying to do good, which was that combination was somewhat novel, at least for me at that time.
Yeah.
So it was energizing and just a real learning experience for me. You know, I could contribute what I knew from a formal business environment, and I was learning a great deal based on what the entrepreneurs were trying to do in terms of both making money, employing hundreds and to some degree thousands of people. So an awfully enriching experience initially, and it continues to be so.
That's terrific. Well, can you tell me a little bit about an aha moment that you may have had along the way?
Well, I'll tell you, I had spent 5 years at Starbucks in a senior financial role a few years prior to that. And here I was, trying to advise someone who really had about $250,000 in revenue at that point. And the aha was that I could relate this to my Starbucks experience because Starbucks had started, as a very small one-shop business and had grown to, multiple billions of dollars in a publicly traded company. So it was that this entrepreneur, while they could make a difference, they could also actually someday be as impactful, maybe not in terms of revenue, but as impactful in many ways as a very large corporation.
Oh, that's really cool.
So,
that's a really interesting insight. And I think you do bring kind of a unique perspective, having worked with these larger corporations as well as smaller ones, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Both.
Absolutely.
You have both of those experiences, and that's really unique, I think, even within the mentor pool.
I would agree.
Yeah. As mentioned, this interview series is part of our 25th anniversary here at Miller Center, and I'd like to just get your insights on how do you think Miller Center can blaze the trail forward for the next 25 years?
Well, what I've seen since 2017 is a continual kind of expansion of both the impact of Miller Center, but also as well as the engagement, the number of entrepreneurs that are becoming part of the Miller Center and the impact that they're having and the growth that they're having. I sit on 4 impact boards of Miller Center alumni at this point. And in the future, I would expect at least a couple of those companies, those organizations, to be publicly traded companies, or to become part of a much larger organization and to have that impact expand from kind of where it was when they started, in the case of a company like Someone Somewhere. And that is a Mexican domiciled company. That does, when I met them, they were doing less than $1 million. They're doing, 10 times that amount this year. And I think they have the potential to do 10 times that number in the foreseeable future.
It's such an incredible story.
Yes.
And Someone Somewhere. It's very cool. I'm glad that you're on their board.
I'm very happy and excited. I'm the only American that's on that board, but it's been a really special experience for me.
Excellent.
And actually, I met Antonio, who was one of the co-founders during that first cohort experience that I had when I was actually advising Vega Coffee, and he and I, as part of the process, you really get to interact with all of the entrepreneurs, whether you're working with them directly or not. And we just hit it off, and from there we kept in contact, and ultimately he asked me to join the board a couple of years later.
Terrific. A great story. That's a great story. You're sitting here because we consider you to be an impact pioneer and I'd love to hear what being an impact pioneer means to you.
Well, it really means being a citizen of the world, I think. It means, I'm, as an American, as a diehard capitalist, I do believe that we can make the world a better place through capitalism, but also through having a social awareness and conscience, and that the combination of those two things, really, I hope, are kind of key attributes of what it means to be an entrepreneur and what it means to be a capitalist going forward.
Oh, I love that. I think, I often think about social entrepreneurship as sort of the pointy edge of the wedge in reinventing capitalism in a way to make it more inclusive and equitable. And I think,
Absolutely.
these are the folks that are already doing it, right?
That's the thing that's so amazing is that you have entrepreneurs. I have the benefit of having worked with, at least five Miller Center companies at this point, and the entrepreneurs that headed those companies all are quite young. I mean, they're somewhere between 25 and 40 generally, and they're making decisions that are made by CEOs everywhere.
Right.
Possibly on a smaller scale, but still as impactful.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it.